Well, what's going on, guys? So the question I get most often is what are the best items to flip for the most profit, or which market city is the best to flip for the most profit? So my short answer is that there's no best item, nor is there a best city for market flipping. Now, the main reason for this is that the market prices and quantities for all items change every single day. So if I found a great item to flip today, by the time you guys saw this video, it would already be obsolete because everyone would be trying to flip it. So instead of providing you a single item or city to flip, I will go over the metrics I use every day when deciding whether or not to flip an item. And I think this is much more valuable than giving you guys any specific items, because then you could do this anytime you want for the long term. Because again, this changes every day, and if you see this video a week or two plus from now, you'll still be able to use this information because it's based on market fluctuations, and that's how we make profit. Because without market fluctuations, we would not be able to even make a profit because item would be obsolete in a matter of minutes. So starting off here, I'm going to go through the metrics, 5 metrics that I use, and then I'm going to give an example. I'm going to go through right now. I have 800,000 to work with, and I think most players after a few days will have at least 1 million. So this is a good starting point. So I'm going to go through each of the metrics and then go through some examples of how I find items throughout the day, weeks, and months. Okay, so starting off, I'm just going to go, and because I've used this in the past, I'm going to go to mounts. I'm going to go to here, create a buy order, and this is the cheapest mount you can get. Anyone can flip it if they want, but I'm going to go over and show you what I look for. So starting off, number 1 would be margin and fees. So when you put a buy order in, I'm going to put an amount of, let's say 517. It's going to say, oh, it's 517, but you have to pay 2.5% setup fee. Now it's a 2.5% setup fee for buy order and sell order. So that's already 5% you're losing in total. Plus, if you don't have premium, it's going to be an 8% sell fee. So the only item here I have right now is a skinning knife. But if I'm going to sell it, I have 4% tax because I have premium. Otherwise, you're going to spend 8%. So when I'm looking for an item, I'm looking for items with 25% plus margin. So for this example here of this Mule, 994 divided by 517 is going to be 90%. So it's it's almost 100%, which is much more. So this is definitely an item that I would look at. It's above 25%. And the reason I don't do, so the fees and the sell order and buy order, the fees and the taxes add up to 13%. So the reason I don't do 14% or 15%, if those margins thin within like an hour, then you're not going to have time to even sell it for that 2%. So I try to target items with at least 25% margin. This one has 90, so that's a check. I also look at the 4-week. This is number 2. The 4-week price. So this has dropped drastically, but it's kind of evened off at around 900. So I could be pretty safe. I could sell this around 800 to 900 and still make a profit before this, whether it crashes or not. This particular item, there's some glitch in the tutorial island where people could just buy them for like 2 silver, and then they were just selling them in masses to the market. But that's something you have to be careful of, because if you were to bought it around here, you would have a few days to actually sell it, so it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But generally, you want to look at the last 7 days is a good metric if you see this kind of drop. So number 2 would be the average market price. If it's in reason, if you could sell it around there, then you won't be risking any kind of market crash by the time you get your buy order filled. So that's number 2. And this one would be okay because I could sell it at around 800, 900. Even if I sold it at 700, I'd still make some profit. The next thing I look for is number 3 is demand. So the demand is, you could see here, the quantity sold. This one each day sold 1,000, 1,600. If you look at the 24-hour, that sells about 100 an hour on average. 7-day. And this one I like because it shows you like the daily amount. So it sold 38,000 a day, 47,000 a day, which is extremely high. And this is a very good chance. Usually I do like 10% of the daily to determine how many I might be able to buy and sell. So I could probably sell like a few thousand of these a day. Now, number 4 goes hand in hand. So this is the demand that I would definitely look at because it's above 10% of what I would do. So if I were going to sell, 4,000 of these and make 400 silver each. So number 4 is the competition. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the demand, and the competition is like how quickly you'll get outbid. So this is more of like a trial and error and feel of just like testing items. So put in a quantity and then check back in, half an hour to an hour and see how many bids. Oh, someone already did that. You could see how quick the demand is. So I'm going to go ahead and sell it for $9.55. I bought it for whatever, I think it was around $5.20. So I'll be making around 400 plus on that. Now I will reinstate a buy order. Now I know it's sold so quickly, so I'm going to increase that to, let's say, 10. And then this way I know, that's actually another question. How do you know when your buy order filled, that you have to reinstate the buy order? So what I do before selling the item, I go back and put in another buy order if the margin's still good. So now I have 2 and it shows gray here on the top, sell order and buy order. So competition, how quickly you get outbid. So right now I have 10 in there. And we'll see throughout this video how quick I'll get outbid or how quick my order will be filled. So that's something you got to figure out on your own. I would try like 10 items to start and see how that goes. But this is a good indication of how quick the competition will be, because a lot of people will probably be looking at this item and will probably be outbid pretty quickly. Especially because it's the first item on the list. I think everyone knows about it. Everyone can use it. It's just a very, very, very common item. That's why you see it's thousands of these things are sold per day. All right. And then the last thing is going to be number 5 is target profit per day. So you got to see like in general, and then this is another trial and error thing because everyone has a different amount of silver and a different amount of silver they could keep in items. So let's say I wanted to put in 100. So I want to make, let's say I want to make 40,000 a day on this item. I'll put in 100, and this way those all get filled. I'll have 40,000 of profit. Now some people might take more risk for more reward. Maybe they'll put 1,000 like I did before, and you're looking at 400,000 of profit. Which at this rate, I mean, it's very possible, but you might get outbid. So this goes hand in hand of how much time you could actually spend editing your orders, because the more you edit, the more fees you're going to pay, but the better chance you're going to be always at the top buy order. So that's not something that I could really explain. It's just like a feel kind of thing as you progress through it of how much quantity to actually put on your buy order. Generally, the higher the quantity, the more profit you'll make and the more items you'll get filled. But the more you'll probably pay in fees, and the more often you'll get outbid before this 1,000 is actually filled. So you got to take that into account too. So I'm going to go and enter this into the my spreadsheet, and I'll be right back. All right, so we're back here. Now, margin wise, is it above 25%? Yes, it's 90%. Is the 4-week price too high? No, for the last 7 days, it's been around 700. So even if I buy it for 500 and I don't sell it for 900, I can still sell it for 700. And I'll still make probably 10 to 15%. So it's still a profit. Demand is very high, which is good, which means you'll get your buy orders and sell orders filled relatively quickly. Actually, this one is very quickly, as you can see in this video. We already filled a bunch. Let me check here. Oh, wait. Look at that. We already filled. It's already gone. So we already got our mule. So just in this video, this is actually pretty good. So now that it was so quick, I'm going to put in 30 now. You know what? Let me put on 100 and see what happens. And I'm going to sell these 10 for... And these are probably going to sell pretty quickly, I would think. So I made a few thousand in just a few minutes, which is pretty awesome. Good example here. And the competition, I don't really know yet because I haven't been outbid. I've kind of just been, my order's just been filled. And my target profit per day is 40,000. But, you know, if we could put more orders in, as we see here, maybe I could push that to, you know, 100,000. And then I would invest more money into that actual. Now I put 100. And then let me take all so you guys can see. I already got 76 filled. Now this is another thing where you could see where these people are probably still doing the glitch. I don't know if it's been resolved yet. But again, there's probably enough time for me to sell these for 700 and then just leave these in. Maybe I'll sell some for 900, some for 800, and still make a decent profit before I have to sell the rest at whatever the remaining buy order is. So we'll see. Again, in this video, if we sell any, how many do we have here? We have 86 right now. So we'll see what happens if we get any messages. And you get notifications once your orders are filled. And we got the rest of them. So if the orders fill that quickly too, you want to be a little wary. I'm not going to buy anymore because I'm concerned that there's a big wave of people just selling mules, which probably is the case. And maybe the actual demand is not as great. So we'll see. And that's another trial and error between the demand and the competition. So that's trial and error. These are the ones you can kind of tell by looking. These are trial and error. You got to figure it out on your own. And then you could determine your profit target per day. And that's how I determine the metrics. So with those categories, this would be a good item to flip. And we'll see if it sells before I have to edit. Now, the ones that are most common here are generally, as I mentioned, high demand, high competition. So they may not be the best items. What you want to find generally are ones that you can make good profit on, and there's not much competition, and the demand kind of fits your thing. So if you're, playing 1 hour per day, maybe you want something with medium to low competition. So I'm going to go through here and find, let's say, I don't know, let's do bags. Let's do tier 5. And again, if you're just going to the no enchanted one with nothing else, these sell about 1,000 a day. And maybe here you can make a buy order of 7,700 and sell for 8,900, making approximately after fees maybe 1,000 per item. And maybe you could sell 100 of these a day if you're actively editing orders. Maybe 50 if you're not doing as many. So this one would have a margin of 19%. So this would actually be below what I'm looking for, but it might work for you because if there's not much competition, maybe that is an item. So you could test it out, and I'll put in, let's say, 3. So after fees, for me, it would be 10%. So I'd be making like about 9% on this. So everyone I sold, I would be getting... So that's, again, very subjective to like... So I'd be getting like 810. But if these sell quick, you could sell 50 or 100 a day. then that becomes like, 7 to 80,000 profit a day. So maybe it's worth it for you to do that. I'm going to put in, let's say 10. See how my mules are doing, if anyone outbid me. Okay. So we got our expert bag in here, 7,514, and maybe I'll make, I don't know, 50 to 80,000 a day, if depending on how many fill your order. So you don't really know when it's quantity sold, how many are sold from here that people just buy immediately, or how many people sell to your buy order. That just gives you a quantity, and you gotta have to. I generally use like 10% of the daily to determine how many I might be able to buy and sell on a daily basis. Could be higher, it could be lower, depending on the day, but that's just my general rule that has kind of worked for me. All right, so we went through mounts, we went through bags. You could also do capes, and as I mentioned, this determines really how much silver you want to make. You could do this with the lowest tier item. Let's say a depths cape without any enchantment, 1,000 divided by. So this is a 36% margin, which is great. And you'll maybe make only 200 or something per item. But you might be able to sell, maybe you could sell 200 of these with a profit of 200 to 250 each, getting maybe 40 to 50,000 a day. So I'm going to put in, let's say, I don't know, 50. And like what I put in, like quantity wise, you don't want to put in most of your silver. You want to put in, if you're just starting, I would say try like maybe 50 different items and then kind of adjust from there. There's no best way to do this. Just go down the list, and based on the metrics I mentioned, margin, forward price, demand, competition, these two you're going to have to kind of figure out on your own, but you can kind of see here what the demand is, but you just don't know sell order or buy order wise where these are being sold. And again, I don't know how much silver you guys have. If you have more silver, you probably want to go higher up. Maybe you'll go this one is interesting, right? You have this one is 100% margin, but there's only like 1 to 10 sold per day. So it's very, very rare chance you'll even get this filled. Sometimes I'll just put them in. I mean, there's usually very low competition on this. So maybe you could put it in, and then within a day or two, if someone might not even outbid you in a day because they're not even thinking that's worth it. But on the chance that you do get it, you're getting double your money on this one item. So that's the risk reward. You're leaving your money in there for a full day, and if that's fine for you, you could leave. You have 25,000 silver to just throw around, and you don't have time to really edit orders. This would be a perfect item for you. You could check back the next day and see if it's filled. You could get outbid, but it's a very, very low chance because everyone's thinking the same way that you or I are. Is it worth it putting my silver in there for an item when I could do it like, let's say, mules or something else that, and I got 3 expert bags here already. So let's say we bought for 7,700. So we'll get like 900 profit per if these sell. And we got a cape. I have granite in here because I'm doing stone refining. I'm trying it out. I'll make a video on that. And the Adept's cape. So I bought one for 753. I'm selling it for 989. So I'm getting 220 or so per. And these are my buy orders right now. My sell orders are the ones I put here. And you could see already, this is one of the risks. You're already outbid because people are doing the same thing with this item. And that's why it might look good, but there's a lot of competition of the sell orders and buy orders you have to be aware of. So usually if something is like too good to be true, if it's an amazing on every category, demand's very high. Everyone's going to be doing this, okay? So ideally you can get this, but you're going to have to edit your orders a lot if the demand and competition is very high. So I'm going to say very high for both buy order and sell order. So it's hard that you're going to be able to sell at that current price because people are going to outbid you. But these items, you're not making as much, but you can see my orders are still there because not as many people would be willing to just put money in for 200. But if you have low silver, I mean, that's kind of an advantage you have. Most people are going for the higher end items that are flipping. So that's something that you can keep in mind. So I went through bags, capes, armor. There's just so many of them. This is like another one where you could just pick anything. I don't know, let's say Adept's Mercenary Jacket. I could put in a buy order for, and this is the best part about it because I'm only in Martlock and there's thousands of items you could choose from and each of them has their own enchantment as well as quality. So if you want to get even further into this, you could do Adept's Mercenary Jacket enchantment 2, outstanding, right? And then you have less, maybe 100 sold per day, maybe you'll buy or sell 6. But the margin would be 50%. So I don't think anything's going to be sold in this video. I'll just put them in. But I'll get 50% on that if that sells. I mean, maybe I'll buy or sell a few a day, but it would be worth it. If I just go to all, there's more sold per day and it's the same margin, but you probably have more competition because people will just go through, because it's the first one on the list. Maybe if you scroll down, there'll be less competition for, these are pretty expensive, like Spectre jackets. But you can get like 5 times your money, but maybe you'll get 1 per day. If it's worth it for you, then you go for it. But the main things you want to do, as I mentioned, these things can be kind of hit or miss. You don't really know. But you want to target at least things that you can make money on and that they're not going to drop or crash. Worst case, this is going to drop back down to 12,000. But in the meantime, maybe you can make a couple flips at 20,000. If you want to just go more common items and more quickly, then go for like these sell almost 1,000 a day, which is very high. So how you flip is determined based on your risk as well as how much time you have to buy and sell, change buy and sell orders per day, and that's something that you guys had to figure out. The ideal deal item would be something that turns quickly, low competition, high margin. And if you find something like that with all those metrics, then that's the best item for you to don't tell anyone about and just trade it. But oftentimes you're going to find one or the other because people are going to eventually find items with high margins. And this is an example of, this is kind of coming back down to earth at 4,000. People are seeing that. Someone must have bought this out pretty quickly and they're seeing they can get 50 plus or 100 plus % margin on these items. Now, you have to do your own research, but the best part is you could make money on pretty much really any item if it has the right margin and competition. Go to Farmable. You can look at seeds. Generally have more competition. Everyone wants just general seeds. But you can make profit if you're on a buy and sell relatively quickly. 33 divided by... This is 78% margin on this Adept's Oxcalf. And you could do a few per day, if you're lucky. That's like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 a day on that. Expert calf, same thing, less competition, but less quantity sold. Maybe you could sell 1 per day for 50,000 profit. Furniture, these are like hit or miss. Everyone usually needs beds and chests for their homes, tables. I usually do. I'm not sure about these other ones. Laborers, these are ones that are ones you can make decent profit on, but the demand, or what's it called? The average sold is pretty low. So the tendency for these orders to stay out a long time. Your silver is going to be held up in these a long time. You know, if you don't play much, maybe that's good for you. If you're not flipping much, if you are flipping a lot, I would go for more high demand items such as like consumables, farmable type things. Obviously, any gear, people are buying and selling these, especially bags and capes everyone needs, and mounts. Tomes are another one that are pretty good. Look at the margins in your city. Resources, these are the ones that everyone's buying and selling. I don't know how good of margin you're going to get because crafters are trying to get these as quickly as possible. So this is a pretty long enough video as it is. Hopefully you guys learned. I went through most of the categories of items, and we got our Adept's Cape. We actually got a mercenary jacket. So once I saw that, I'll be making 6,000. And let's see if those mules got so there's something you have to be careful of, and this is why I'm happy I did this. You're already outbid by a bunch, so I might lose out on this. I might have to edit these a bunch of times, but you know, that's the risk you pay or you take when you want to make a big profit. So I wouldn't do that if I was new, but I'd rather go for items such as what I mentioned before: expert bags, Adept's Cape, and even this I'm outbid on. But it's cheap, so you could just edit it and not pay much of a fee. So hopefully I went over in general what I look for on the best items to flip. And I'm sure you guys are going to have questions. I can't answer everything at once, but I can answer them in the comments. So feel free to comment and I will get back to you. If you want me to make another video, feel free to let me know in the comments and I can expand on any topic you guys might want. So thanks for watching as always. And I'm almost at 500 subscribers. So thank you to you guys for liking, subscribing, and everything else. Thanks for watching.